Welcome into Mindset. I am Brad Barrett. This is producer Jared. And as always, we have Santa Claus. We mean lovely Kira with us today. Santa Claus. Today we're going to talk about what is passive income and how do I get some?
How do I get some?
We're today going to define what it is. We're going to talk about how to get it. And really, ultimately, I think debunk some myths around what people think it is technically, and then what it actually, where it started and what it really can be.
Can I be honest with you?
Sure. Always.
I'd like some passive income, please.
I mean, I think generally speaking, when you use the words passive and income, we're going to talk about that here. Let's go into that. We'll define it, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
literally
want free money.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like,
Let me be clear.
I'm not doing anything. Who doesn't?
I don't want to do anything.
I mean, let's first define passive income. Okay. So passive income, as it's stated, is a type of unearned income that is acquired with little to no labor. Like that's the general definition.
Yeah. And that passive or not earned is not super accurate, but it's
not to go too in depth in this, but generally speaking, in my 22 years in being around financial services, I'm telling you right now, there are a few that really are nothing, but a lot of the ones that we think of, like real estate, which we're going to talk about here in a second, there's a lot of work involved with that.
It may be upfront work and then
maybe not on the back end, but there's still something going on. So It's important to know that. But what's interesting to note is 20% of American households have at least one source of passive income.
That's higher than I thought.
Well, in a minute here, if you stay tuned, you listen to the types of passive income, it might make some more sense.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like for like true passive income, that would seem high. But if they're talking about more like side hustle-y.
And we're going to talk about that because there is a difference between side hustle and passive income, because side hustle could be something you do on the side that becomes passive.
Right.
But side hustle in general, as we talked about in one of our previous shows, generally speaking, you're doing something for the income.
It's like your thumb is a finger, but your fingers aren't a thumb.
Oh, there you go. Something like that. Now,
I get it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, conversely though, here's another stat. 88% of Americans believe that passive income is essential for financial security. That to me is wild.
For sure.
88%.
Kind of agree.
Okay. So we got to talk about that because...
Well, you said it's wild in a good way or a bad way?
In a way that I think is misunderstood. Like it should be a part of your wealth program and it's definitely a great thing, no doubt, but it's essential for your financial security? Well, I'm like, hold up.
To me, that means like when I retire, I won't have to work and money will still be coming in.
Yeah.
I'm secure in that aspect.
It's one of the best things you would want to achieve from your investing life and your work life. Yes. But is it essential for overall financial security? I wouldn't say necessarily.
Okay.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean it's not important and it's not one of the better things. I'm not doubting that. But I just found that stat interesting when we were doing some research here on how many think that have it versus how many think it's essential.
Yeah.
That's like almost a 70% disparity of who have it and then those who think they need it.
It's a wide chasm.
Wide chasm. All right. So let's talk about, so there's three that I want to bring up of types of passive income that we're going to, generalize here. The first one I want to bring up is investments. Investments that I'm talking about here, just to be clear, is investments in market-related items and or some real estate. So the two main asset classes here we're talking about is general investments, that's mutual funds, ETFs, dividend-paying stocks, and then real estate, okay? And in this world, investment-based, and I'm going to separate asset sharing here in a second, but from the investment side, okay, I always say this, and this is probably the first hot take of today's show. I might have a few here.
I feel like I want to make a drum roll.
Yeah, look, and I said this in our pre-production meetings. I get heated up on this one because dividends are, to me, the first and most essential passive income you can find.
And I bet most people would not consider that passive income.
Correct. Literally, you buy, and I mentioned on the episode we did about what the stock market is, like the stock market 101, I was mentioning you buy a share, which takes little to no effort, okay? And then you do nothing for the income on that dividend paying stock. I cannot think of, and I'd be happy to be schooled on this if you want to comment on this, a less work involved passive income. I cannot think of it.
If you choose the right stock that pays dividends.
Correct.
And if that stock continues to do well.
Correct. The same case can be made for the biggest social media topic of real estate being passive income. If your rents stay in and if you keep occupancy high, the ifs play out on both sides.
That's fair.
Yeah. And that's for value-based companies.
Yes.
For dividends, right?
Ah, very good. There's a difference between growth versus value.
That's nice.
Kira,
good job.
Coming in.
So I listen to the show.
So investment-based stuff we're talking about, growth is typically not going to pay you an income. It'll pay you an appreciation. That's the goal behind it. But what we're talking about here is dividend stocks, ETFs, high yield savings, CDs, things that are literally just putting it there and you're receiving literal passive income.
And we learned that Coca-Cola.
Yeah, we did that on the show.
As
an example, don't go buy that per se. We're just saying.
Not a recommendation.
Not a recommendation.
Just one that does.
It does. There's many out there that do that. And again, the same case can be made. So that's the investment based. All right.
Do you know what a bond ladder is?
Well, bond laddering bonds is a structure you do in fixed income planning. So you ladder bonds by duration. So you'll get a short-term bond, maybe paying out 6 months to a year. You get a longer-term bond, like 1 to 3 years, and then a longer, then you keep going up. So you're laddering duration.
Would you consider that a passive income?
Fixed income, yes. That's would fall into the investment based. Absolutely.
And what about an annuity? I also read that this is considered passive income.
Yeah, it's any investment that you put into something, a lifetime income annuity or a product you're buying, an annuity that you're doing an annuitization on that pays you income that you don't have to work for, yes.
This investment based under this umbrella, though, is buying or having the money first and letting your money make you money.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So you do the investment, you make the money, invest, and then it pays you.
And if you don't make it, maybe it's an inheritance that happens. Maybe it's something. But yes, generally speaking, yes. But that's also true. Let's go into this. The second one is what most people know as passive income is what we call asset sharing income.
Yeah.
This is rental property, renting out belongings. A lot of those kind of things going on nowadays with renting things out like Turo of cars, things like that, right? Vending machines. I mean, you can name it. Again, those could fall into the side hustle category, but they're asset sharing. You're buying an asset, an actual hard asset, let's just say, and that asset is producing income.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing though. Going back up to the top with investment based, the money that you needed to buy the property or the money you needed to buy the vending machine or whatever it is going to pay the passive income came from somewhere. Maybe it came from your other work life that you were earned income, things like that. Generally speaking, we talk about passive income. It's income that you don't have to go to work for. Okay. Most people are on get paid semi-monthly or bi-weekly, whatever it might be. You have to show up to get that paycheck.
Yeah.
And if you don't show up, either A, you won't get the paycheck or you'll get let go, right? In this camp, you don't have to show up to it, but you're going to still receive the income. But you worked to get to that point.
Yeah, I think the big difference for me on this is the barrier of entry is different.
Yeah.
Or can be different. I mean, you can buy your way into real estate, but you can also build that with sweat equity.
Correct.
And whereas investment based, it's have the cash.
Yeah.
And you can still build with the cash, but
the barrier of entry, they're receiving dividends, for example, can start at little, like small amounts. You can over time create a portfolio. Whereas real estate, for example, right? Buying a piece of property nowadays is expensive. We talked about that on our show. It's hard. And then to actually make a net profit, that's the other thing with passive income. If you're going to go take on debt for an asset sharing environment, whether it's a vending machine or a house or whatever it is, right? You're going to have debt and the income coming in has to be above and beyond the carry.
Which typically in real estate will take longer to get to that passive point to where that...
To get to the net to net income, yes.
So when that property is paid off...
Yes.
Because a lot of these,
But here's my beef, and I have a lot of clients with, we have good, healthy conversations. My beef is this: when you own real estate and you have this rental income, let's say you own the house outright, you still got to manage the tenant. You still got to show up when the AC breaks or the refrigerator's busted, or you still got to pay property taxes on those things, right?
Yeah.
Maintenance, all those things are still, to me, that's not purely passive.
Yeah.
And I know that's aggressive to say, but it's not.
Or like Airbnbs. Like finding people to actually book those weekends.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
And you still own the house. Yeah, you have to do the work to fill it. And then you still own the house. You still got to do everything for that place. You see what I'm saying? And I know I sound like a typical market guy. I get that. But like dividends are like, you literally do nothing. I'm not advocating. Talk with your advisor about that. But like, I'm just trying to educate here a little bit. And be like, and that's what I found over the past 10 years. This whole I want to have multiple properties. I want to this. Why? Yeah. You do all this work for it, right? When net perspective is the same. Let me give you an example for a second.
Lay it on me.
Cap rate is what you would call in a real estate. A cap rate's what we would call in the liquid markets or capital markets a dividend. So a cap rate is if you own, and there's a difference between net operating income and net and gross, but just generally speaking, if you have something worth $1 million and that thing's paying you $2,500 a month, making it up for a second, okay? So that's what, 30 grand a year? So 30 grand a year divided by the asset value of $1 million is 3%. Okay. So it's paying you 3%. Now that's gross because you got to pay taxes on it. You got to pay property taxes. So it whittles it down, right? You can go right now and Google a bunch of value companies that are paying 3% dividends without any of the overhead. So the $1 million you put in might be different than maybe a $10,000 investment, the lower the barrier of entry, but the percentage of profit, the percentage of passive income can be the same.
So I found something called crowdfunded real estate.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
I had not heard of this.
What is it?
It's real estate investing without the real estate. I found this thing. It's called, not a recommendation, but it just happens to be one of these. It's called ground floor real estate investing. You can start with $100, and it says on their website, and earn passive income without owning property. Basically, people put into this fund.
They're buying the real estate, and then the rental properties they're making off of that, they get paid back. You have to go into those things with a total grain of salt, eyes wide open, and definitely talk to your advisor about those kind of things.
Sold. Pushing all my chips in.
Yeah, well, see, that I'd say don't do that, obviously. But like, that's how marketing works, and they're trying to get more people in it.
But I thought it was cool. You could start with like $100, $200, and you could be in real estate.
Yeah.
But why couldn't you start with $100 and $200? That same amount you're going to put there and buy a dividend-paying stock. That's going to pay you a 3 to 4% dividend.
Fair.
I mean, it's fair, right?
Or take a couple $1,000s and buy a vending machine.
I'm just saying,
Or
there's
like
other ways.
Laundromat?
I mean,
laundromat.
There's a lot of ways. I'm just saying. Which
fair. I just thought that was cool. I didn't ever heard of it.
It is cool. I mean, there's a lot of things out there. I've always had my eyebrow raised those kind of things because you're literally, the one good thing about real estate that I'll say is you have like direct control for the most part.
Yeah.
You can control who's in there. You can control, what you're choosing to fix, not choosing to fix, what you want to when the renter moves out, if they wreck the place, what kind of you can control some things there. That's the one good thing about real estate. You can't control all of it, but some of it you can. In that space, you're losing what I consider one of the bigger benefits of control. Because you're literally, whatever they're doing, and that's always a source of like, be careful with those kind of things.
You have to trust that company. Do your due diligence.
The third one I want to bring up, which is kind of a newer one, but it's worth mentioning, is what we'll call digital content income.
Big these days.
Huge.
Big time. And this is one of those things where, again, could fall into the passive income category if once you do this side hustle, whatever it might be, then it becomes generating. But a lot of these too still take work. But I mean, things like online courses, you see a lot of things in physical training, they're doing that kind of stuff where it's like, sign up for my course or whatever it is. But they've put in the work to create that course.
Yeah.
Ebooks are a lot like this, right? You have these affiliated marketing things.
A lot of woodworkers I've seen, they build like
Yeah.
courses of staining and finishing. And
Yeah, I will say, like, I follow some people that make them that are like super low quality and they make a ton of money off of them.
I mean, so there are ways nowadays technology can...
depending on what you're teaching, yeah.
Yes. So this does exist though. And again, I threw this in there as part, to me, for most of my career, half of my life being in this business, I would have boiled it down to investment based and asset sharing. That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you want? More of a hard asset, paying you with some work. Both have pros and cons. This third one's been thrown in here probably over the past 10, 15 years because it is relevant.
Yeah.
Right? There are platforms now, some good, some bad, that you can make good money, right? Depending on if you care about your soul or not, right? But also like, on things that are legit that could be considered a side hustle while you have an earned income job and you're putting the work in over here to eventually have that pay you.
Yeah.
But those still need TLC. Like you can't just run a course forever and think it's going to pay you forever and ever.
Yeah. Some stuff like Amazon, like if you have a storefront, like it'll just show like what you buy. And then if people buy it from going through your storefront, then you get commission, which is really nice. Jared might get into this with your beats in your
No, that's what I'm saying. Don't
feetfinder.com. What?
Yeah. Also not a recommendation.
With your music, with your little beats.
My music.
Your music.
Yeah, it is my music.
I mean, YouTube, we're on a platform. But by the way, we're on a platform where monetization,
this very platform
itself. I mean, like, so there's a ton of things you can do. We're doing this out of love for sharing it, right? But obviously, that could be an income source, right?
Would you describe it as passive though?
See, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't bring it up right away. It really
can be if you build a channel. There are channels that are dead.
Yeah.
They stopped creating that are still producing money.
But ultimately, there'll be a lifeline to that. Because at some point, unless it's completely green, like a totally green topic that plays in any generation at any time period, maybe, right?
All these I noticed a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
They're all a little bit artistic.
Yeah.
Like you're creating something, you're writing, and I think that's kind of cool for artists to be like.
I totally agree.
Be able to make passive income after you've done the work, but it's still skill-based.
100% agree. I always like this too because being a financial advisor here in Southern California, we work with a lot of artists in Hollywood and things like that for different aspects of things. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it was still run by the mothership of the studios, right? Then you might have had a contract where you got residuals. If you did a movie or a score or...
Residuals are the ultimate,
right? But it's still run by some motherships. So you have to kind of be plugged in there to do it. Now you have these freelancing opportunities and these freelancing platforms where you can create that kind of thing. And I've always been, all my friends around here are, videographers, photographers, script writers, screenwriters, you name it, right? Even how we met. I mean, all the stuff you do in TV and producing and all that kind of stuff. Now you can kind of do it in different platforms. So yeah, it's still, again, that's why I put it third on the list. It's relevant. It's there. Would I completely categorize it as passive? Debatable. It could become passive.
it could become in time.
It could become that, but it's still
with
work
your
being
skill
put in.
level. But to me, this is the next frontier of passive income. I think
I can see that.
So many people, you write a song, you put it on Spotify, that's there. If it's good,
It's true.
that's going to keep.
It's true.
That's why I say the skill-based level. If it's a good product, it will.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about investment-based. We've already talked about asset sharing.
We've forgotten one key passive income category.
What?
Skinvertising.
Skinvertising? I have not heard of this.
People getting tattoos with company brands.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
They're getting paid to get tattoos of the company brands?
There's a guy named Billy Gibby, the human billboard,
Oh my gosh.
has 39 brand-related tattoos and counting. I saw that number in 2024. He gets paid. You could Google him. He's got
What?
he's got a .com on his forehead. He's got them all over his body.
What if he gets a QR code?
Oh my
That
God.
would
But
be
he's
crazy.
Come bring it on. So he's getting paid for that. In 2013, there was an advertising agency that started, these were temporary tattoos, but putting company advertisements on women's thighs. And they would wear mini skirts and walk around town.
Wow.
That is the most Vegas thing I've ever heard in my
That
life.
sounds very Vegas.
This is in Tokyo, but same thing.
So, well, I don't know,
Imagine
same
like
thing,
a
but
QR code is like a tramp stamp or something crazy.
But imagine
Like-
a company was like, you never see that, right? Imagine if Coca-Cola was like, hey,
well, I was gonna say reputable.
$10,000, let me tattoo a.
I haven't seen this, so I don't know this.
$10,000. I'm like,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So there's always there's a price for something, and you got to understand. Like
We
to
all
each
have
their
our
own.
prices for a lot of things.
Yes,
so.
and that's its own thing. But hold on, I would argue, and I haven't seen this guy at all, but I would argue that a lot of reputable companies wouldn't be going into that camp because there's not a value base for them to realize who cares if Coca-Cola's. Everyone knows Coca-Cola already.
Agreed.
I'll
let you Google him and I'll let you judge for yourself.
That's definitely passive.
There's some out of the box things out
Right.
there.
There's some out of the box. To
not
me, I still boil it
That's
back to
crazy.
these three.
Yeah.
I agree. Arguably, these two of income based versus asset sharing. The digital world has definitely got platforms there. You're still working for it, but it can, if it's good enough, it can lie out there and it can play for years and years and years.
I will say in researching for the show, we were hard pressed to find something that was as low effort and high reward as a dividend. So
Agreed.
I win.
Dividends they get the number one for most passive
I win.
yeah,
income.
point Brad.
Yes.
No, it's true.
Yes. Again,
You got this one.
all these assets are great. Make sure it works for you. Diversify throughout. Work with an advisor on all these kind of things. I made my case and it looks like I might have won this one.
Go get that money.
Go
Get
get
your
that money. You guys do
bag.
you. Hope you guys enjoyed that one today. We had some fun with it. As always, thank you for our subscribers. We love coming out with content for you each and every week. Please, please, please send us some what you want us to talk about. We love actually generating shows. We have a couple coming up that came from comments. So please let us know. If you're not subscribing to us, we come out with weekly episodes. Please do so. You can also
your
follow
problem?
us. I
What
know.
are you doing?
Come on now. If you want to follow us too on social media, you can follow us at Mindset with Brad Barrett. And as always, until next week, if you lead with love, it's going to be all right. See you guys.